Good evening, or should I say good morning? I just got home from work. So hopefully I don't look too bad. I did have to fix something in the dirtiest part of the plant, and it wasn't fun. I also discovered I didn't order enough APC backup units, so I got to order more of those, and that'll be tonight at work. Anyway, chapters 9 and chapters 10. Let me make sure I got the right chapters. I think the last ones I did. Excuse me, but you see, I just got home from work and I got home and I ate a great big root beer float, which causes my throat to seal up a little bit there. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, 7, 8. So I'm doing 9 and 10 right now. 9 and 10. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, Sandcastle. Now, Sandcastle again has a lot of numbers in it. Oh shoot, has a lot of numbers in it, and I'm not sure what it alludes to. Some people think it alludes to the Kennedy clan. I'm not really sure about that. I think more things don't. But here are some of the things you can consider in this one. You might want to highlight in yellow. All right, so they went to the shore twice a year, once in the late spring and once in the early fall. And the dates are in every chapter, so I'm wondering, how do you get a code out of dates? I'm wondering if we need a calendar and need to figure out what year the calendar is, or if it's even necessary, because we have one calendar that was specifically spelled out. We just don't know what month it was, but one of the months with 31 days. And then there's dates all over. Maybe you can match one up somehow. Anywho, 2 years. They went twice a year, and then Ella, his sister, was 2 years older than him. So there's 2 and 2, 22, the sacred number from the earlier chapters. I'm making sure there's no more numbers there. So Ella was always in charge, and he was the builder. They do make a big deal about him building the sandcastle, making a tunnel. He dug his tunnel arm length, and then went on the other side and dug the tunnel arm length. I've never been able to dig a tunnel in sand, so I'm not sure how that works. But he did, and this is where a whole ton of numbers comes up. So first the sister goes out and she gathers a bunch of shells and rocks and stuff because they make the sandcastle, and then they decorate it. He makes it. He does the grunt work. She decorates it with all the shells and rocks and stuff. Let me make sure there's no numbers on here. He talks about crabs entering the tunnel. And let's see. Where did all the numbers go? They describe the sandcastle, and some people thought that it described the Mellon Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. One of the problems with that is the Mellon Stadium was imploded several years ago, so it's not there anymore. So if there's any reference to that, or things around there, it's going to be difficult because it's not there anymore. And they raised the whole thing, and then they put a parking lot there. So yeah, if there was anything in this area, and they also removed some of the streets, so the streets aren't even the same. So that's going to be interesting if it did refer to Mellon Stadium. So she orders spires on this one, and he's like, she never asked for spires, and that was a surprise to him. So he built these spires on the sandcastle, and then she came back and she wanted the spires shorter and fatter. So don't know if that's something, but something to consider. And here's where all the numbers are. We are short 12 rounded black stones, 21 small scallop shells, 4 feet of that stuff that looks like a hula dancer's neck, 5 pebbles that look like pearls. And then this is where she tells him the spires are too thin and tall. She wants them shorter and fatter. So when he goes searching, and again, 4 feet, the shelves on the bookshelf in the other chapter was 4 feet. 4 came up just as much as 22, it seems like. Da da da. He talks about Ella at the age of 13. So 13 is in there. I did run Ella and the other name through the numerology chart, and neither one came out to one of the sacred numbers. And then the red pistachios, 50 red pistachio shells. So, yeah, there's a lot of numbers in this one. What do they mean? Ooh, what do they mean? And then when he gets back, he does find 12 feet, I believe. 12 inches of the seaweed stuff. And he was meant to get 4 feet, and he only got 1 foot. So does that mean you subtract and you got 3? Or do you add, you got 5? Or do you discard the 4 and use the 1? Anyway, he gets back, and his sister and his dad are gone. But luckily, the house is on the beach, so he just had to go up to the house. So that's the chapter. Again, it's one of those chapters I don't know too much about. Excuse me for a minute. I'll try to edit that out. But I know I won't because I'm lazy. So that's Sandcastle. A lot of numbers. The tunnel, the description of the castle. There's a lot of things in here that you can unwrap. And it's one of the longer chapters. Now the next chapter has some very interesting stuff in it if you do the math. Next chapter starts right out with the narrator saying he was born in 1923, and that's important. And it talks about this Easter egg hunt, and every year his dad would hide 12 eggs that he would describe to everyone, and then a 13th egg that he wouldn't describe to anyone. So it talks, there's a lot of 12 and 13 in this one. He was really committed to these Easter egg hunts. He painted them really fancy. And it wasn't an Easter egg hunt like they say it's not like a church hunt where they throw a bunch of eggs in the yard, you just go fill your baskets. He really hid the eggs, and only people worthy of the hunt was allowed to hunt for the Easter eggs. Now it does mention in here, the 13th egg was considered the most valuable. So could this be alluding to the number 13 being the most important number? Because 13 is mentioned in a lot of other chapters. In just the previous chapter, the girl was 13 years of age when she discovered that, I forget what it was. It wasn't her age in the story, but it was the age she realized, or that she became a debutante. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, each year had a theme. And it's funny, World Championship Baseball Team, one of the chapters was supposed to allude to baseball. Great American Painting, State Flowers, famous personalities, and members of a World Championship Baseball Team. So these were the themes, some of the themes of the eggs over the years. And he said some years the themes were only known to the father. He would show the pictures and people couldn't figure out what the theme was. And the 13th egg was considered the most valuable, and it didn't necessarily share the theme. And it was painted very, very special. And he never described that egg, and some years it was never found. And it was the one egg that was never found some years. So, but here's where it gets interesting. He says the only years the complete collection was reassembled, so the only years they found all 13th eggs, was 1945 and 1956. Now, if you take 1923, the year this guy was born, in 1945 he was 22 years old. And in 1956 he was 33 years old. Again, 11, 22, 33 are the three sacred numbers. And so far they've been just, well, they haven't been in every chapter that I found, but I bet if I dig I could find them in every chapter. But there's another thing about 1945 and 1956. Since we're talking about hiding eggs, you may think that this is referring to Easter. And in 1945 and 1956, Easter fell on April 1st, which is, of course, April Fool's Day. They don't mention that in the book. You got to do the math. And I didn't. So I actually read that on the Quest for Treasure forum. And, someone asked me which forums would be best. There's only really two: Quest for Forums, or Quest for Treasure, which is a British forum. I'm really surprised they spent as much time on the Whistle Pig, but because this hunt's been around so long, there's lots of threads on it, lots of ideas. But I think the last post was like April of 2021 this year. And then, of course, Mysterious Writings has a Whistle Pig section. And if you want some really older stuff, if you go to 12.org, and 12 is spelled wrong, TWELEVE, something like that. Just look up 12.org. That's a defunct forum, but it's still there, and all the threads for Whistle Pig are still there. But the Quest for Treasure had a lot of good stuff in it. And Mysterious Writings had some good stuff in it too. But anyway, that's Quest for Treasure is where I read 1945 and 1956. Easter fell on April Fool's Day, and there's only like five dates in this century that happened. It might have been 4 in last century and 1 in this century so far, so it's a rare occasion. Yeah, because Easter is when Christ rose from the grave and said, "April Fools." So, yeah, when it falls on April Fool's Day, that's a big deal. But anyway, it's not only the days they fell on April 1st, but like I said, the guy was 22 and 23 years old during those two dates. And let's see. Talks about the year he found one of the eggs. He said he found the 13th entry. He found the 13th egg, and the theme of the year was first. And he found the egg in a wild turkey's nest. And there was actually a bird sitting on the egg. So how he found that, I would never know. But he said more cherished than finding the egg was the vision his father had applied to the shell. There was even a secondary miniature rendition of Jack opposite the egg's primary painting. And again, don't know who Jack is. Some people think it refers to Jack and Jill. But remember, that was the year of first. So something where Jack was first in something. But the 13th egg didn't necessarily have to follow the theme. So there's lots to take in there, lots of numbers. The sacred numbers are in there twice. Of course, you got the April 1st. Is that alluding that this chapter is a red herring? It could mean lots of things. And let's see where we're at here. So I'm going to save the very last chapter, the bow. And then I'm going to go over the rest of the book and the covers again. And then I don't know if I'll do another follow-up that brings everything together, everything we've learned, to see if there were any patterns or anything. And I want to go through the book with my graph paper and graph out everything I can find to see if there's any patterns. And that's probably the best way to find patterns, at least to me. So anyway, that's chapters 9 and 10. I know the chapters are not numbered. These are numbers I'm giving the chapters. There's actually 10 chapters in one poem, and if you count if you count them all, that's 11. So there's one more to go, and then there's a bunch of stuff in the rest of the book. And then I'm going to go through and I'll graph what I can graph, and then I'm going to send the book to my friend, who'll probably solve it in 4 hours. She solved many I told her, I said, hey, I want you to look at this whistle pig. And she's like, why? And I said, because you solved the AGK hunt in 4 hours. And she goes, yeah, but that was super easy. That was super easy. Well, then take a gander at this. If there are codes in here, I haven't found them yet, but there's lots of allusions to numbers. None of them really fit latitude and longitude. I screwed that up in another video too, because of the United States don't follow within like a 22 parallel or 22 longitude. So who knows? But yeah, like I said in the other ones, if you think of something I haven't put, go ahead and put it below. Watch the other videos. If you watch something in another chapter that you found that I didn't find, go ahead and put it below. And maybe we can get someone to put a Whistle Pig forum on Hint of Riches or something, and go from there to do our own discussions. But yeah, it's been kind of interesting going through the book with so the last time I just like read through the book and I didn't even pick up on a lot of this stuff. But this time I'm going through it with a more experienced eye. Like I said, I first bought this book like in 1930. It's been ages since I read it. And yeah. Anyway, I'm telling you, that was the biggest root beer float I've had, and it was my breakfast. But I'm just getting home from work, so it's kind of like an afternoon treat to me. But now I'm going to bed, so hopefully I'm not going to like lose all this lactose in my sleep. And I'm really happy because, oh wait, today's only Tuesday. Tomorrow my new cat trees arrive, and I can't wait to set those up for the cats. So that's why hopefully after my shower tonight, I'll be able to do the last chapter. Anyway, take care, everybody. If you think of anything I haven't thought of, go ahead and put it below. Go ahead and look at the other ones. And I've already seen some really good comments in there. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Because that Easter egg hunt, there's just so much to unpack in that one. And the sandcastle, there's lots of numbers. Those are two very active chapters. I don't know what they're alluding to, but I know there's a lot of stuff in those. So anyway, take care.